Hello, it's me, Jay, your DM. I use he, him.
I'm Jerika. I use she, her.
I'm Leap. I use he, him.
I'm Matt. I use he, him.
Yay! Woo! Welcome to the show.
What up, what up, what up? Ba-ba-ba-bow.
All right. And this is Insight Check, where we delve into the dungeon of your bad decisions and retrieve the treasure of wisdom.
I recently realized that Babim Bam's little subtitle also ends in wisdom.
We're in good company.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Insight Check, where we're all here still, against all odds. We've made it.
We've fought off the hordes. We've,
Looks like we've made it.
Oh, that's much better.
No,
Yeah.
Carrie Underwood's a champion. Such a good song. I jazzercise to it on the weekends.
Oh, man, I want to just jazzercise now.
Is jazzercising is still a thing?
It is
Okay.
entirely a thing.
Here's the truth, and we're on a tangent, I realize, off
It's
on
okay.
the plank, and we might get dropped at any moment. I do an activity called Zumba,
I've heard of Zumba.
which
I've heard
is
of it.
basically the modern jazzercise.
Yeah, I agree.
It's definitely like a the successor.
I feel like Zumba is one of the prerequisites to become a wine mom.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's one of the things you have to do first before you can become a wine mom. Like, you have to, like, there's a checklist of things you have to meet first, and
Yep.
then you can get admitted into wine mom status.
Step
And
one.
Zumba
Wonder
is
how
one of
far
them.
on this journey to wine mom I am.
I believe there's probably classifications of wine mom, one of which I'm sure, if you go down that skill tree, I'm sure you're
Childless
pretty...
wine mom.
Yeah.
Well, do you have cats? Do you have pets?
I do.
Those are your kids. Hello,
Childless
welcome.
wine mom is like my
Wine
favorite
mom.
skill tree.
What if I hate wine though?
Well, now that's going to be a problem, I will admit. But a lot of wine moms have dealt with this in the past. Do you hate it enough that you don't drink it?
I don't drink often.
Do you drink
And I
it to
don't
spite your
choose.
friend Becky, who always brings the bottle and
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
really know what she's talking
Doing
about?
a thing that you don't enjoy to spite a person is actually one of the objects on the checklist to becoming a wine mom.
Do you only drink when you Zumba?
Definitely.
See,
Yes.
I would
See,
drink
that
and
sort of
Zumba.
seems
Activities
counterproductive.
for sure.
No, that
No.
seems like a great time. We generally, when we are not drinking and Zumbaing or discussing the new D&D class of Wine
Wine
Mother,
mom. Yeah. It's a prestige class.
it's a prestige class. Oh man, those
Nobody liked prestige classes.
I liked prestige classes.
this is the classic J-Mat scenario. We've hit it already. This is fantastic.
But maybe it's a type of hag, so then it's like WHINE.
Oh,
And it's like a banshee, but like not quite there yet.
The
and
wine
much
mother.
more,
Yeah.
like,
Hang on. I'm
drunk.
crunching the numbers. I'm checking the math. It looks like this is nothing. Let's go ahead and get on to our dungeon crawl. Dungeon crawl is how we progress in the linearity of this podcast. Does anyone have one?
I got one. So I've been playing the longest campaign for my friends for a really long time. We generally have these campaigns that kind of last.
You love to see a long-lasting campaign.
It's so good. Like my friends generally there's like seasons, like, and I'm sure a lot of parties are like this, that you'll play from like fall to spring and then it kind of cuts off at summer or like something.
Yeah,
like,
you've gone over this before, how your group kind of has a very fluctuating life system.
Yeah.
And yet you've managed to keep this game going just by being very adaptable to those fluctuations.
Exactly. And so this campaign that we've been playing has lasted for over a year. And as such, we just hit level 14. So I have a level 14 druid, which is the highest character I've ever played.
My bread.
You are not allowed to level up again.
I don't know. Leap's got the highest level one, so
Jerika has 15. I believe that was.
15. When I started the twittering, it was level 14 druid, and then I leveled up that character, and I felt like I was lying, so I changed my Twitter handle.
I kind of like it, the progression. I feel like
Yeah.
if this character never gets used again, then I have to like get this character to level 16 at some point or something. I feel like we
mean,
can't let it stop here.
It's a
so
good
close.
challenge, and I would love to play Jerika again.
Well, then there we go. We've reached an accord.
So, Lee,
Yes.
what circle are you?
Okay, so this was peak new C team. So Wood Elf, Circle of the Moon.
Awesome.
After our good friend Amy Tristan
Hang on.
Falcone.
Let's just check in with Matthew. Matthew, how do you feel about the Moon Druid?
Seems like a waste.
It's my favorite class, best class, awesome.
Matt, I know that this has been set up, and I understand that it is not the best character min-maxing. But
No, that's not Matthew's problem.
No, what's Matthew's
Matthew
problem?
hates the very fundamental of the Moon Druid because he believes that
I don't
it is.
hate it. It's just not for me.
Yeah,
And I will
it's
argue
like too,
vehemently.
It's too basic. Everybody's a Moon
Also,
Druid.
no.
Blah, 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 blah,
No,
blah.
that's not.
Okay.
That's not it.
Hang on, that's Matthew. Hang on, I'm doing Matthew.
Yeah,
Blah,
do
blah, blah.
your best Matt impression. I'm sure everybody will catch on immediately.
I don't like anything. If Jay said it, it's wrong. Meh.
Well,
I ride the bus
yeah.
4 hours a day. Anyway. Leap. This Moon Druid.
Yeah.
We're just going to ignore Matt ever getting to explain why they don't
I would
like the
like
Moon
to
Druid.
know, so I can categorically accept Matthew has his own
know.
opinions.
Look, me and Jerika just live at two different ends of the spectrum.
We define the spectrum.
Yeah, one end is obviously Moon Druid, and
The two genders likes Moon Druid, doesn't like Moon Druid.
No.
No, Matthew, why don't you like
No,
Moon Druid?
I just 30
30 seconds or less.
Not enough beasts. But two, I like the other subclasses more because it frees up just to use your wild shapes as just fun utility nonsense.
Totally.
Right, because you have to save as a Moon Druid, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage if you use your wild shapes out of combat.
Yeah.
Because your wild shapes are very combat oriented.
It's a resource that is weirdly used as a Moon
Depends
Druid.
on how you play.
I agree, Jerika.
Totally.
I agree. I think you're right.
Kiss ass.
I've really enjoyed it, and in my party, here's where I figured where I fit Matthew. We have a weird party because our main tank is actually a swashbuckler rogue, and
Evasion.
yeah, exactly. And so that's the mechanic that has really kept him alive. And we just have we have a cleric who is literally he designed it to just be there to develop healing. He didn't even mean it as a heal bot. He's only just taken support spells because that's what he wanted to play.
Cleric can always change their spells, so they don't, they're not stuck in at the healing spell regimen. They can always decide, hey, I actually hate healing. I'm going to be a pure attack cleric today.
Exactly.
And that's what I like to call pulling a Jerika.
I've ended up as I've done off tanking in I'm a big meat shield a lot of the time. And then when that's not necessary, I the druid, my spell book is different enough that I provide a lot of utility spells to the party. So
That is how I like rolling with the druid.
right?
But you're up there now where you got those beefy elemental shapes, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, now I've got the
Which you don't use because it takes both of your wild shapes up. What do you...
I've been using it mainly, but I've been using it, but it's that's just the nature of our games, right? It's usually that we have a big encounter, and if I've popped it, then our game is going to continue, and I'm just going to be a big rock person for a really long time until I can't
let
anymore.
me tell you, congratulations. As a gigantic ball of 400 hit points, you are the actual tank now.
Yeah.
Not the rogue.
You know what? It's weird though, because it's just the nature of it. They still keep hitting that guy, right? They still keep going after the rogue. And then I just take all of as many hit points as physically possible.
So when you're not a rock man, what sort of beasts do you gravitate towards?
Oh, okay. So
Are we talking like dire wolves and like?
Because my druid is set, like we were playing Eberron before they did the whole like 5e in Eberron. So my druid is set in like
You were Eberron before Eberron was Eberron?
Exactly. I flip my hair and I'm eating my like avo toast. Because we were in it before it was cool.
Yeah.
So he's like set in that jungle, like that deep kind of hot dinosaur jungle. So
You mean the Chultan jungle?
Chult?
kind of,
Nope,
yeah.
this is Everon, so it's got a different name.
But like
There's
a
a different
Chultian style.
jungle? Okay.
So like spiders and there are dragons, not dragons, but there are dinosaurs
spiders?
there.
What
No,
are you talking about?
I wish.
Living spells, that kind of stuff.
So that more like kind of temperate, hot, wild snakes.
Where the
right?
dinos live.
Exactly. That kind of thing.
Yes. Those T-Rexes and those Deinonychuses and those other creatures.
Is
Ex-
that how you say that word?
I think it's Deinonychus.
It's the most adorable way.
Deinonychus.
All right, now who's the kiss ass now?
Look, we are all vying for Jerika's friendship.
It's
we all
true.
have a friend
There's no
who.
greater gift.
And what you don't know is you're all my friends already.
Oh, that... I was expecting that to go a different way. I'm so relieved. What you don't know is I hate you all so much.
And my heart is warmed.
I wouldn't spend hours and hours of recording with you if I hated y'all. I would be out.
This would be quite a long con to have pulled off.
Well, my dungeon crawl is more of a psychological
Thriller.
investigation. It's sort of a Rorschach test.
It's a dungeon murder mystery.
No, it's more of a Rorschach test.
Okay, we used up all our interrupting the speaker juice on the first question. The first time.
I've listened to the show.
Posit that the state of New York looks most like a centaur. Question?
Really?
Comments? Suggestions?
Hang on, now I have to look at an outline of New York.
You had to go pull it up.
Yep, I'm opening up.
New York map.
Good listeners,
Okay.
pull to the side of the road.
It's got that good curve, like the important part where the
Okay.
man meets the horse.
Where's the man meet?
The man is in
Where's the man
Canada.
meet?
Yeah.
Is that what you said, Max? Or
So-
Matt?
Those are
And
the words I said.
there's a little man in Vermont as well, in New Hampshire.
I like this. I like this because it's almost like a centaur lion if you consider like all the roundness of the curve of the state to be like a mane billowing out behind. Oh wait, horses have manes.
Yeah, they sure
Ooh,
do.
Doesn't
Amazing.
need to be a lion.
It is a horse because
Cool.
it's got a mane. Oh, I
We
love
apologize, Haley. We know you just whacked your forehead in despair.
it. Oh.
Let's see how much Maryland looks like a centaur.
Not at all.
Maryland. I almost typed Maryland 5th edition.
Maryland 5e.
Unnecessary.
It's about time.
4th edition Maryland
Oh,
was the
man.
worst.
Oh,
Okay,
man.
so here's the thing about Maryland. It is if you consider the back half of it 2 sets of legs, and
I
the
do
and,
consider the back half of it. Quite
and
a
the front of
Okay.
it to be like a very thin head,
It's the most sickly, sad centaur.
bowed deferentially. Yeah,
It's not a healthy boy.
this is a defeated centaur. This is a centaur that's been through some
Oh.
stuff.
But Texas
Yes.
has been suggested. Do we think it's a good contender?
Texas is the winner. I don't.
Texas is
Here's
the
what I
winner.
like about Texas is it's got 2 little nubbins on the bottoms
Yeah.
for hoofies.
It's a nubbin boy.
Yeah, it's got 2 little nubbins.
Okay.
And that's a good word.
Them hooves.
So Oklahoma, like, okay, as a Canadian, I don't look at the South map very much, but I'm looking.
Now, by the South map, do you mean the United States?
The map of
Yeah,
the
I mean,
United States
Cana-
of America.
Canada's
Long
pants-
May he reign.
otherwise known
Yeah.
as the United States of America.
I think it's America's top hat, but whatever.
Hey, Canada's pants, and I'll tell you what Florida is, except it's our penis.
Ah!
But
You're a teacher!
Oklahoma is, everyone look at Oklahoma and tell me you don't see a pointing hand, like a hand that has like all of its fingers pointing, and it's like, hey, you, look, over there, New Mexico.
New Mexico.
Yeah.
It's just pointing. That's a square. A
But
perfect
is
New Mexican square.
California like a centaur rearing up?
No, because Texas is a centaur rearing.
Alaska's a face. Alaska's
Okay.
a profile face
You're not wrong.
with a very long goatee. That's what Alaska is.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah, anyways,
I've got-
I'm done.
I've got a very good visual aid for you all that I've cooked up over here.
Jerika, tell me how you see the California centaur, because I'm looking at it now, and I want to see through your eyes.
Tall boy, and when centaurs are tall, they get tall. So
Like
it's
a giraffe.
Jay,
Let's take a look at this document I've made.
you have to tweet
I hope
that.
you will tweet this because I have a lot to say about it.
You have to
Explaining
tweet it
this
now.
is the Texas centaur.
It's a
First of all,
monster.
it's terrifying.
It's an operation.
Centaur
Second of all,
cryptid.
where's the mane? Where's the lion mane?
There's no mane on this centaur. They keep it tight. They keep it high and tight.
Tight.
There's a lot missing on this centaur, and the mane is like
Are you
so
saying
far down the
Oklahoma
list.
is the hair?
No,
Oklahoma's totally
they
the
keep
hair.
it high and tight on
Blowing
this
out in
bad
the
fella.
wind. High and tight.
Anyway, you can see two leggies. The other two are obscured in this shot. Not a big deal. The man half is very stumpy. That's kind of awkward. And the body is extremely thick. But overall, I think you get the general idea.
Where are the man arms?
Are they
There's no
tucked
man
in?
arms. Some centaurs don't have them. All right.
Some centaurs don't have man arms? Well, okay.
Sometimes
They're
it's just a.
definitely tucked in.
Sometimes
tucked
it's
in.
a. Sometimes it's just a man head on a horse
Centaur.
body.
A bed.
Anyway, so this sucks, and I made it.
Yeah, I hope it
Okay.
gets tweeted immediately. Matt, I'm counting on you if Jay's not doing it.
Yeah, Matthew, you've got responsibilities now.
Now, good listener, spend a minute with those whom you hold dearest and look around the globe and find the centaurs nestled
Yes.
within our world's borders.
So I traveled north and found your Canada.
Yep.
On
You
this
mean- yeah.
on a map. Yeah.
It exists.
Quebec, as I could vouch for centaur.
Okay, so
It's not an attractive one, mind you, but
Matt, paint me this word picture of Quebec as a centaur, because I
Okay.
can only see it as my homeland.
if your homeland is not a centaur. Okay, I'm still trying to suss out exactly which leg goes where. But
Okay, yeah.
but as with Texas, we have 4 kind of unique quadrants for limbs.
So what we've posited here is that Quebec is sort of a writhing mass of legs. It's just waiting to happen.
Yeah, it's like a centaur fell down.
Wait, is the centaur upside down and its legs are like
Yes.
the top bits?
Oh, no,
Yes.
Oh, that's
it's
so-
a
yeah.
leg.
I love it.
Fell over.
It fell over.
Like the part down into Ontario is the head.
Oh, okay, it's upside down. Yep,
Yes.
I like it. Oh man, yeah, this is a great game. We should do this more often. That find monsters in
Yeah, we should definitely do this bit again.
Listen, I think
Yeah.
we've all got like a good another 30 minutes of this.
We should definitely. This is the bit that should survive and keep happening.
Look,
is this one?
It's this or feet fetish. Which one do you prefer?
The problem with this bit is it's very visual. So anyway, we have been accused of being an advice podcast. We ostensibly answer questions on this show, and we're gonna try doing some of that this week because we haven't for a while. Here we go with number 1: D&D flirting. User underscore Peregrine Falcon. User underscore Peregrine underscore Falcon submits D&D flirting. Hey, so I'm sorry if this comes off as rude to someone, so just let me know if it does. So basically, I'm playing multiple campaigns at the moment, and there's this one kid in our group who will not let us do anything flirty in the story. I get it for their campaign because they're running it. But in the other one I'm in with them, they refuse to let anyone do anything. No relationships, nothing. I know that they are disgusted by sex and anything related to it, but it's just become really annoying when we're interrupted with someone who's trying to even hug a person. They just have kind of been really annoying about it. We can't even lightly flirt or even attempt to have a vague romantic relationship before they interrupt us and say that they're not comfortable. Just let me live my life, please. What should I do to deal with this? Well, you've come to the right asexual.
This is a tough one for Jerika, I must admit. I am on the fence. Not because I don't like flirting in my D&D, I quite do. But I have had triggers before. I have
Yeah.
had things that
Yeah, that
make
makes
me
sense.
feel bad about being who I am, and I feel like there might be some of this going on with this person.
So here's the thing: we have a campaign in which a romantic subplot is unfolding. And there have been times
that you're okay with this.
No, there have been times where I have had to mute my mic and then cringe into the darkness because it gives me like a little bit of awkwardness to be around this kind of like romantic affection stuff. It's just, I don't know, something about it, like, but I like the character interactions, and I find it sweet and endearing that they can do these sort of moments, and I like it. So like my personal, weirdness shouldn't necessarily limit other people's ability to enjoy facets of their character and building out relationships and stuff like that. I think that this person needs to number one answer, the honest answer to every question in Dungeons & Dragons, open, honest communication.
Yeah.
Just talk to your friends.
I bet if people, if it is something like a trigger and they explained that, then people can be jerks about it and they can leave or whatever. But, some people will be like, oh, I get it now. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think hopefully it's not just like a sensitivity thing for their friends, right? Like hopefully that these are like honest, good friends who are just not understanding if this person is really having a trigger, right? Like it's a difference, like maybe.
But it's also possible this person is just like a huge prude and does not want any sort of romance and anything, not out of like a triggered sense.
That's a maturity issue.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, I don't like it. It doesn't make me feel fun. I'm not having fun right now. It's like, well, you're not the only one at the table, Other people have different ways of engaging with the material, and if you don't like it, then maybe it's not the right table for you. You shouldn't ruin 5 people's fun for your one.
There's so many ways to handle this kind of thing. So in my West Marches style game that I'm in, my character, it has at least gotten to second base with the ship captain Zora.
Congratulations.
Ooh.
And every so often, when it's appropriate, like I'll say, oh, Hesha's, with Zora right now. That's kind of where we leave it. Like, we don't go in, like the DM and I don't go into it, but it's just like, that's where Hesha is if you're wondering.
That's all about setting expectations with your group. How deep you want to go into stuff, how intimate you want things to be, how mature your topics of conversation can get. That's stuff to set up in session 0 with, again, open, honest communication. You got to do it. It's how to be an adult. Yeah, you just have to talk about it, set expectations. And if somebody's really ruining your time, then you gotta let them know that they're doing that too.
Sorry, are you guys familiar with terms like lines and veils?
Yes, very much so.
Oh no.
We actually had the creator of that document on this very podcast.
But that's a really good point, Matt. Like, that's a good spot.
S?
Kiana S. She's fantastic.
But is she centaur-tastic?
Oh.
Which state is?
Which state?
The best.
She's Canadian.
Which territory?
Which territory? Oh, okay. Now we are talking. Get freaking ready. Northwest Territories.
The least centaur mass.
I just know about BC because I watch a lot of Loading Ready Run.
That's fair.
Yeah.
What do you want to know about Canada? We could do a Canada pod. We don't have to do that right now.
Oh, I don't think we need to do that.
Oh, get ready, man.
Bring your questions. We'll set a date.
Oh my gosh, I just realized we have 2 Canadians and 1 UK. We could have a fully non-American cast.
A no America pod. That would be something.
The new options which are available to us with this expanded cast are just infinite.
Indeed.
We could talk about things that the colonies do. We could talk about the Queen.
Oh yeah, we
spelling
could have a
things with
cast.
you, right?
Oh my god, Insight Check Queen cast. It's gotta happen. Anyway. Getting back on, let's do another question. Would I be a bad DM if I killed someone?
Nope. Next question.
Yes.
No.
You
Wait.
shouldn't kill anyone.
In real life.
Not in person. Real people. No.
Well, it says if I
You know
killed
what?
someone.
I'm not going to judge either way.
I think you're a bad DM if you kill someone. That's an easy one to answer. Shall we move on?
You don't know that they Didn't have it coming.
I don't think anybody has it coming.
I think it depends on, we can move on, but I think it depends on like why, the intent on why you were killing the person in the D&D game. I'm not going to get into the...
Okay, in the game,
Yes,
yeah,
in game.
you're not a bad DM if you kill somebody in D&D. I killed 2 people last night. It was fun. But if you kill someone in real life, then that's a problem.
That is a huge problem, especially for your D&D game. Like, how are you going to fill that seat now that they know that the DM's a murderer?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, was there more question to this, or was it just this headline?
No, that's the question. Anyway, moving on. Now this is going to be another short one, I feel like. I feel like this is going to be pretty quick. I don't think we have to go super in depth on this. How to commit genocide. Submitted by user Silver Whiskey Bottle. One way to weaken kill a god is to remove all of its faith. So how do you go on a mass genocide on multiple planes of existence? You don't. You don't do that.
What kind of game are you running? Why?
Yeah.
Why are you asking this question, man?
R&D, are you okay? Is this the content that you crave?
I guess I kind of get it, which kind of
Yeah.
freaks and scares me out.
Mm-hmm.
There's a thing about like the Discworld where if you don't have any followers left, you as a god aren't a god anymore.
Yeah, there's a finite amount of belief in the world.
Yeah, and your powers diminish the less believers you have. So it sounds like maybe they are trying to kill a god, and there's a lot of bad gods out there.
Yeah, sure. Lols.
I don't know. And I mean, yeah, hit him where, hit him in his bad knee, his followers. I don't know
Clearly
if that's
what you
how I
really
would
need is just
try.
a better PR campaign.
But here's the thing, it's hashtag not all drow, not all drow are bad. You can't just genocide them all. Sometimes they're drizzits.
So how would you go about killing a god, Jay?
Well, I would take out my +3 Godslayer longsword. It's called Bible Fucker. And I would just stab them to death.
That is very vivid. I don't know how I feel about that descriptive text.
Okay, so there's a webcomic called Order of the Stick. And this is not so much about a god, but it is killing a large amount of people on accident. Where the wizard in the party takes off a dragon because he kills its mate, and then the dragon vows that he's going to kill all your family. And so the wizard ends up making a bargain with some dark powers, like you do, and casts a spell that is essentially somewhere, beyond 9th level. And it wipes out the dragon's line, essentially. And it being a dragon, half dragons everywhere. So naturally they go to like a place where they're trying to meet up with an important NPC, and there's just dead corpses everywhere because somewhere far back in the important NPC's line, they are related to this dragon because he cast this spell that like wiped out their whole like family line.
Right, yeah.
And it was a big oopsie.
Yeah, wow, that's dark. Well, with that, in our comedy podcast, I hope that you had a good chuckle at that.
All right, listeners, hold each other close. Look at your map. Find a centaur.
There you go.
There,
Find your centaur place.
Take a moment, centaur yourself.
Ooh, good one.
So anyway, are positions on this podcast revocable? Like, what's the process on just getting rid of a member?
All inquiries go through Jerika.
Okay. So here's what I like, because I've gone through this process myself. Help role playing. Oh, this is from user first username taken. Very clever. Nice. Like that. Hey, I'm pretty new to DMing. Currently DMing my first adventure, 5e. And I have a lot of things figured out. Building combat encounters, interesting dungeons and puzzles, cool loot and boss battles. I mean, if you got all that figured out, you're doing better than me. And plot hooks to get the game started. I even managed to make up rules for fights between pirate ships that came into effect twice. Cool. But I just can't roleplay. Both as a PC and as a DM, I have an incredibly hard time roleplaying. I can't even say things as if I'm saying them, but rather I say, X tells you that, ... Any tips for getting better at it? I can't seem to nail down the problem I'm having with it. Thanks.
Number 1.
You're doing it.
Motivation. What the heck does this character want? Is what they want gonna come from the party? If not, they don't care about the party, and the party has to work to get their attention.
Yeah.
If there is something that the party can help them with, they'll be more amenable, or who knows?
Yeah, number 2, it is okay not to speak in first person for a while until you get comfortable with it.
Or ever.
You don't have to be Matthew Mercer, the legendary famous voice actor boy. You can just be yourself. And sometimes there's this word that I both love and hate in the modern culture, which is cringe. Like, oh, that's so cringe. But like, there is really a feeling of like, where you do something and it makes you feel awkward in a cringe kind of way, like a ugh kind of way. And for a very long time, talking in character made me feel that way. I literally couldn't for years. I would just say, X does this, X does that, X goes here, X says to you this thing. And then I would say the thing that the character says, but I would say it like a novelist writes it. I wouldn't say it in the character, and I wouldn't do voices because it made me feel embarrassed and awkward because I come from a very conservative South and they have very set rules about what you're allowed to do and enjoy and be like, and it wasn't in those rules to be a dwarf from Galdahar, a dwarf named Blattergast from Galdahar. Yeah, it's a little awkward at first. It's, we're playing pretend and we're getting permission from our players and our cohorts that it's okay to be dorky in this space, and you can get easily rebuffed if you do a voice and one of your players laughs at your voice in a way that makes you feel like they're laughing at you and not with you. Totally. Then you can feel like you can just like lose all that confidence in an instant, and you can just suddenly go back to doing those, and that's okay. You got to build up to it. And maybe you'll never get there. Maybe it's just not for you. That's okay too. It's a process. You're fine. Don't worry too much. You're okay.
If this is a person who is like feeling like that this is a skill that they want to build, then like talking to the party about it, being like, look, this is something that I want to try, like just like being open about it and seeing that they can support you in that way. Or if you are if you're a DM and so the DMing part of the character building and like the role playing isn't working for you yet, maybe if you can PC in a game where that there's a lot of strong role players and come with that in mind, being like, hey, I want to join your game for a little bit so I can just like hang out and practice role playing with you guys, right? In kind of like a low stress kind of environment in case you are worried of how it's going to look in your own game, right?
Yeah. And like, if you're a player at a table and your DM is new to doing voices and they try a voice and it's like, awkward and obviously they're struggling through it, be encouraging and gentle with them. Don't slam the door because you never know when it's like their first time. I am like far enough along in my DM adventure now that even when somebody makes fun of a voice I'm doing, it doesn't really bother me too much. Yeah, sometimes people will like make fun of a voice you do, and that's okay. And you'll make fun of your own voices and you'll do goofy voices that are bad, but they're funny or they're entertaining, and sometimes those are the best ones. We're not professionals. We're just having fun doing silly voices with the 6 accents that we can manage. Because it's just for fun. It's just a game we play for fun. We're not trying to impress anybody.
Unless you are.
Unless your like aspiration is to become a voice actor.
Are too high and you should lower them a little bit.
Yeah, like if you're like playing with a table of professionally trained voice actors and you've never done it, then maybe you should not try to do so many voices because you might be putting a lot of pressure on yourself.
If you do find yourself in that situation, hey, way to go.
Yeah, exactly.
If you wake up at Critical Role's table, if you just come to existence and you're surrounded by those people, just run with it, buddy. Just like... Just live that bliss. Hold Travis Willingham's hand. Squeeze it real tight for me because I wanna know what that squeeze back would be like, just on a personal level. And you just like play that game for me, please.
Wow, that got really intense there for a second.
Sorry.
There, and I feel like we tapped a mine. I feel like we hit a rich vein of some deeply personal ore.
We can explore that at another time. We're at like 43
maybe in therapy.
I don't know. Who knows, right?
I do love you, Leap.
I mean, there's some characters too that like I feel more comfortable with playing. Like Evil Prue, I might not get in there the whole way.
Yeah.
I might not ask too many questions, but Glim Junie, I remember names of characters that I made up. Like, I'm super excited to play that little bat firefighter.
Oh my god, I cannot wait.
I'm super excited. I'm looking forward to it.
This is a funny quirk of me. I find that the voices sound way more different in my head than when I hear them back.
Oh
Like,
my god, for
I've
sure.
recorded me doing the voices before and like listened back to them to try and like remember what the voices are. This is something I'm doing lately to try and keep my voices a little more consistent between sessions. I'm recording the characters and then playing them back before I play in that game, because I'm running 3 D&Ds a week now and there's a lot of NPCs and it's starting to become a little difficult to remember who's in what campaign. But anyway, so I listened to them back and I'm like, oh boy, the voices sound a lot more similar than I thought they did. I thought I could do a pretty wide range, but it's actually a narrow range.
It's like, it's, you know, when you walk into your own house, you don't smell what the house is like until you've been like away for a long time. Like when you're doing a voice, you're not hearing your voice
I know exactly
behind
what
it.
it's like to smell Leap.
I'm sorry, man. I'm
just kidding.
Nope.
I don't get to shame people with that very often. So I just had to take my shot.
No, I will take the shame as a minor action. I will use it as
joking,
full.
Leap. I'm joking. It's a joke.
It's good. But it's like you don't hear your own voice behind the voice that you're putting on, right? And so when you hear it back, you're like, oh my God, no, that's just me a little deeper, or that's just me a little higher and Britishier, right? Like,
Yeah, that's
So
it. That's
real.
role playing. A little British here.
Yeah. Me, but Britishier. That's it.
That's it.
Now you're role playing.
That's it, mate.
That's it,
Who is
mate.
that? Who are these new podcasters?
A rich 3-dimensional character because it's got an accent.
You're
Pip.
right.
Pip.
Pip pip cheerio.
oh man, Maz, I'm so sorry. I'm so
They're
sorry.
gonna slay us
Welcome to
all.
the podcast, Maze.
No,
We're
no.
happy to have you.
Oh,
It's gotten a little Australian. And that's the
little
fun of accents as well, is when they drift.
They just they continental just shift right down the line.
well, sometimes you have to start in a lane, and sometimes you don't.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Insight Check. As always, we want to say thank you to Vinswept for our intro, Never Stand Alone, and outro. We also want to say thank you to Bernadette at Burnham with 3 M's. It's on it's on the episode description and on our Twitter.
What did Burn do?
What did they
Burn
do?
did something amazing.
What the heck did they do?
Thank you for making our faces. Without you, we wouldn't have faces. Thank you to our listeners for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please retweet the tweet you found the show from, and also give us a like on Apple Podcasts. As always, we're answering your cues.
From our collective A's.
Somebody else say it so I don't have to clean it up so much.
Ouch.
Oh, ouch. From our collective A's, this
Was.
Insight.
Matthew, I'm sorry. I love you, Matthew.
Insight.
Check!
Woo! Thank you, Burn.
Thank you, Burn. What's that? Another question?
Do we need to do another?
We're at 46
Surely
minutes.
don't.
Yeah.
That's an episode.
Well,
Trek is like, I gotta go.
I'm done.
All right.